Well, what do you know? It's another loaded reaction show here on Squared Circle Radio. We appreciate you guys choosing our show to get your wrestling fix this week. There's so many wrestling podcasts out there, but you have stumbled upon Squared Circle Radio. We can't thank you enough for that. Who's we? I'm your phenomenal host, Mr. Podcasting Chris Belcher. That's the young buck, Mr. Andy York. Joining me back this week. You left me on a solo mission last week. I can't believe you.
It happens.
It does.
You did good, though. You did good holding on the fort.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. I'll leave you on solo missions all the time.
You
so
do.
It's fine.
You do.
Which will happen in a couple of weeks, but we'll get there anyway. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you guys being with us, whether you're watching on a YouTube channel, listen on your favorite podcast platform, just like, subscribe, follow, all those things. We would very much appreciate it. It helps the show more than you know. Just a simple thumbs up on the YouTube channel. A simple subscribe doesn't cost you a thing, but again, it helps us a ton. Andy, last week on the podcast, by myself, not with you, I ended the show. I'm going to read you a quote that I said at the end of the show last week. Are you ready for this?
Oh, no.
I said, quote, "No use in planning any content for next week because the wrestling world is probably going to flip on its head." Sounds like prophecy to me. I think I nailed it because, ladies and gentlemen, Jordynne Grace and Ethan Page showed up on NXT last week. What on earth, Andy, happened?
I don't know which one's more surprising, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know. And the fact that, like, AEW also almost got name dropped on NXT TV
Was hilarious.
By Vic Joseph.
It was so good.
I don't know. It's wild. It's wild,
Isn't
this
it?
working relationship between WWE. Like, we've seen it before in the past with the Rumble spots, but not, like, on a weekly TV show.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It blew my mind. And I didn't even see it. You texted me.
Yeah.
And you're like, Jordynne Grace and Ethan Page. And I was like, what are you talking about? And went and looked and was like, oh, on NXT, what in the world happened? Made me want to watch NXT, which is like hadn't happened since they switched over.
Yep.
And so now I'm like, I got to watch NXT
And
this week.
me too, because I said a couple of weeks ago, I was like, if I need to add any more wrestling content to my plate, it's got to be TNA.
Yeah.
Well, TNA just showed up on NXT. I know Ethan Page is AEW, and I get that. He was in TNA in the past.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Jordynne Grace first. She appeared at the Rumble.
Yeah.
Shocked everybody. Yep. She's going to show up this coming Tuesday. So as you're listening to this on Tuesday night, wrestling on NXT, and then at Battleground against Roxanne Perez.
Yep.
Apparently, Jordynne Grace said on Busted Open last week, Roxanne Perez did not know until she walked out who she was facing.
Yeah.
So wild.
That is very wild that was the case. It makes me think that this was last minute in some ways.
Yeah.
Of getting it done. I think this was probably part of the plan, but like last minute getting it negotiated and everything else. My thing is, like, my question is, I know TNA is getting representation on NXT. I would be shocked though if they don't get a WWE person on their show.
Oh, they will at some point.
Which I don't know who that would be, which is very fascinating.
Do you think it's limited to NXT, or does it need to be?
There's so many guys on the main roster though that are from TNA.
Right. That's true.
I mean, like AJ Styles, but I don't know if he would show up. It'd be wild if Drew McIntyre showed up because, I mean, that's a good way to get away from Punk and kind of go that route.
You know who would be really interesting? And let's hit on this real quick. Is this guy on your YouTube screen right now? Is Chad Gable, whose contract is about to run out, apparently this week.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be interesting for him to go to TNA? Couldn't you see like a new 2.0 Alpha, or not Alpha Academy, American Alpha with Josh Alexander?
Oh,
and Chad Gable.
Yeah, like listen, if we ever get the WWE TNA pay-per-view like against each other, and we don't do Josh Alexander versus Chad Gable, there's a problem. Yeah. There's a really big problem there. The only thing is, I think after tonight's episode of Raw, I think it indicates kind of clearly he's re-signed.
Sure,
because he's fighting Sammy at Clash.
Well, even at that, he could still show up though.
Right? Yeah.
You know, we're talking about people showing up, not necessarily
staying. Yeah, exactly. I think that would be. That'd be wild.
Another one that would be really cool is Ricochet.
Yeah. Listen, he's not doing anything right now. As right now, if you got like a Randy Orton to pop up, not even wrestle, but just to pop up on TNA TV would be wild. On the flip side, we need Joe Hendry on a WWE TV show.
Listen.
Because you talk about getting over, you hear that music, he will get over with the WWE crowd.
Yeah.
Like instantly, he would get over with the WWE crowd. And I think this also proves like Jordynne Grace is in TNA now. And they better hold on to her because I feel like when her contract runs out, she is WWE bound.
Yeah, isn't the word on the street like she's making 6 figures for these 3 appearances or something stupid like that? Like, WWE is proving that they will shell out the money for her.
And they see big things in her.
Yeah.
Because, like, Mickie James, they asked for her for the Rumble, but they didn't really ask for her to come back for anything else. They want Jordynne Grace for these spots.
Yep.
So I think she has a very, very big future down the line in WWE.
All that to say, we mentioned Jordynne Grace showing up. This opens the door for a Dolph Ziggler to come back.
Yeah.
A Brian Myers to come back. A Heath Slater to come back.
Cardona
to come back. So many people who have been here before to come back. And you mentioned the Joe Hendrys, the new people to come in. Matt Hardy even.
Yeah.
Matt Hardy could come back.
Yep. I mean, Chelsea Green could be another great choice to go to TNA, being upset with management. And she goes to TNA, and then they're like, we don't want you here either.
Right.
Like, I think something like that would be really, really funny with her.
This has opened the door to so many possibilities. So I'm going to put you in an unfair spot being the indie guy.
Oh, gosh.
You ready?
Yeah.
Again, this is one thing we didn't prep because I didn't know I was going to ask you this
until right now.
Until right this minute.
That's fine.
So here we go. Forbidden door is the term.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is there more exciting possibilities for the Forbidden Door of WWE and TNA or AEW and New Japan? Now, it's a little bit unfair because we've already seen AEW New Japan.
Right.
So we know what it could be or some of the things that we've seen. But right in this moment, what's more intriguing to you?
Right now, it's still AEW New Japan because it's all the heavy hitter guys working together. If we see a WWE main roster thing with TNA, I think that would be just as interesting. But like nothing against NXT, it's developmental for a reason. But like Cody Rhodes has a lot of history in TNA.
Yep,
it'd be wild if he showed up. It's no shot. I mean, right now John Moxley's the IWGP champion, so he's on AEW TV weekly.
Right,
but it would like when Okada was champ or Tanahashi was champ, it would have been a shock, but not a surprise to see them on AEW. But if like I think Moose is it right now. If Moose just rocked up on a Raw, that's wild. Like that's absolutely wild. So I think if we could get to that point, it would be intense. But right now, I'm probably going to say AEW and New Japan just because it's all the A stars going against each other.
I'm going to ask you another question to go down a rabbit hole. Again, not planned until right this minute. A lot has been made of Scott D'Amore being let go from TNA.
Yeah.
I know we had Jordynne Grace at the Rumble.
Yeah.
And I know we had Mickie James 2 years ago in the Rumble. So Scott D'Amore clearly had some to do with this.
Right.
But do you think this is more aggressive of a working relationship now that he's gone? Or do you think this got started with him and TNA? I just wonder, like, if it got started with him and TNA was hesitant about it, they would have pulled the plug already.
Right.
So I just wonder if he held it back at all.
I think this is more WWE side than
I was going to say,
TNA
is this
side.
more just a perfect storm of Triple H recognizing talent and getting stuff done?
Because, I mean, this time last year, Vince still had his hands in the mix.
Well, Vince still had it when Mickie James came.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that is probably playing more of a part in it. Now, like Triple H and Shawn Michaels know how important a working relationship is with other companies.
Yep.
And so I think that it's probably more on the WWE side than it is the TNA side because WWE has more to lose out of this than TNA does.
Right.
Because TNA is getting put on a massive weekly TV.
And like you just mentioned, what WWE stars are going to show up? Right. Because none have yet.
Yeah.
So, when does that happen or does it happen?
Right. I'm still holding out, though, for a Worlds Collide doing TNA versus NXT. I think that would be awesome.
It makes the most sense. Let's talk about the other surprise. Let's talk about Ethan Page. There was rumors about his contract.
Yeah.
Did it run out? Did it not run out? He did a video the day after this appearance saying he was a free agent.
Yeah.
People have said that he signed. He had one of the hottest selling action figures last week. He did a promo about that. And then just lots of questions. Him really playing the system and knowing what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then making a huge impact attacking Trick Williams.
I can't believe it. Like, I thought for a while there in AEW, he was one of those guys that was probably going to be in AEW for a long time, and then he just kind of got lost in the shuffle.
Because he was the surprise for a ladder match at 2020 Revolution.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he was a surprise.
So but I think he just kind of got lost in the shuffle. I think we're going to see another one here pretty soon. Jump ship. I think Ricky Starks is WWE bound because he's such a Cody guy.
Yeah,
that I think it's just he's one foot out the door.
Sure.
But I think Ethan Page in NXT is a perfect fit.
It is.
And I think if he'll develop into a potential really big main roster guy.
Yep.
And so I'm very, because he's got the charisma, he's got the promo skill already, just learning to work the WWE style, which he kind of already fits that mold. And him going right after Trick Williams, I think, is an indication that he probably won't be in NXT for long. He probably gets called up kind of quick.
Interesting.
So I'm very excited about that. I think this is a perfect fit for him right now. In about 5 years, will he still be in WWE? I don't know. But I thought once the contract stuff ran out, I didn't think he was staying in AEW. I thought he was TNA bound.
Sure.
But jumping to NXT is a pretty smart choice for him right now, I think.
And with this working relationship, he may be.
Right.
TNA bound.
Yeah.
You know, he may just do WWE. You know, we see NXT bring people in for one-offs all the time. Yeah. Maybe this is just a one-off. Maybe he goes to TNA after this. Maybe he is telling the truth that he doesn't have a contract with NXT, you know?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? But I love it.
I tell you what, with as big as this hit, as shocking as this one was, like, WWE would be dumb not to take a second look at signing Ethan Page if they haven't already.
Yeah, I think they have.
I think so too.
But if they haven't already, they need to. I think he's a must get for them right now.
How is it? And you said you knew nothing about this,
and
I didn't know anything about it either until I got texted about it because I wasn't watching either. How is it that NXT can keep these things a surprise? And main rosters or AEWs can't?
Less eyes. I don't know. Like I think the bigger the product, the harder it is to keep things secret.
Yeah.
I mean, but the last big surprise for WWE main roster was Tongaloa, and that nobody knew about that.
No.
Nobody had any idea about that. So I think we're kind of in a new era of that possibly happening. And they also were like, oh yeah, we got Jacob Fatu. Don't look over here in this corner while we bring this guy in first.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think it's partly because, just a smaller audience and not as many people are paying attention to it. So you're able to kind of do these things a little bit more open than, and with like a WWE, like a Raw or a SmackDown or a WWE PLE or whatever the case is, bringing somebody in, it's hard to hide those people.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of the case.
I know Shawn Michaels is running the show down there.
Yeah.
And I know he has a lot of help with Matt Bloom and some other guys. I know he's running the show, but I wonder how much is he running the show and how much of this is like a collaboration with Triple H and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, Triple H still has to have a massive interest in NXT because that was his baby.
Sure.
So I think having Shawn there is basically just having Triple H there.
Sure.
At the same time. So they have to be working together. And
I wonder, is Jordynne Grace and Ethan Page, was that Shawn's call?
It's probably a company's call.
Is that
I mean, if you look at if you're talking to TNA and they say you can have one person on their roster to work a match, the first name that pops off is Jordynne Grace.
Sure.
Like, I'm not going, like, Moose, maybe, yeah. Joe Hendry for the likes, yeah.
Moose versus Trick Williams.
Oh, that's the main event of the Worlds Collide if they do that.
Buddy.
Like, that's money in the making. I think you could also do Andre Chase versus Joe Hendry. I think that'd be wildly entertaining.
Yeah.
Also makes me wish Cameron Grimes was still there because Cameron Grimes and Joe Hendry together would be hilarious.
I thought about that.
Or R-Truth. Put R-Truth down in NXT for a while and have R-Truth and Joe Hendry interact together would just... It prints money. I don't know why you wouldn't do that.
I think Logan Paul and Joe Hendry would be fun together.
I think LA Knight. I think a tag team of LA Knight and Joe Hendry versus Logan Paul and whoever.
I don't think you can put them against each other because I feel like LA Knight would just...
Yeah. No, you have to do Knight and Hendry together.
Man, all of that to say, no matter who is really pulling the strings or calling the shots or whatever, it's working. And it's a good time to be keeping up with NXT. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
It's also a good time to be keeping up with us on our YouTube channel. If you haven't done it already, hit that subscribe button, please. It does everything for us. It helps the visibility of the show. It doesn't cost you a thing. All it's going to do is send you a notification every time we upload a video. Doesn't cost you anything. That's it. All right. So if you're enjoying our content, why would you not want a notification every time we upload a video? It just makes the most sense. So, subscribe to us. We would appreciate it. Like the video. It helps the algorithm of the show. I can't explain it. I just know that you should like it. Leave a comment on the YouTube video as well. That helps us very much. Viewership is growing. Subscribers are growing. We just appreciate your all support so much on the YouTube channel. Keep it up. Tell a friend. Again, if you're here at our show for your wrestling fix, I guarantee you've got people that watch wrestling as well that need their wrestling fix through Squared Circle Radio as well. So make sure that you do that. Okay. Again, we talked about the wrestling world turning upside down. And on the podcast last week, as I was recording, I vividly said, as I'm watching Monday Night Raw, and I'm recording, I'm like, oh, well, here's the finish to Monday Night Raw. Dominik Mysterio accidentally bumped into the cage, rammed their head into Becky Lynch. Liv Morgan retains. Liv and Dom stare off. That ends the show. Turn my iPad off, continue talking to you lovely people. So what I missed, I found out later, the next morning, is the kiss heard around the world actually happened last week. Yeah. So if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, you saw my little insert during that segment that said, social media exclusive, apparently this happened after Raw.
Yeah.
And now we get to talk about it. Yeah. The kiss heard around the world, Liv and Dom, man. And then the weird interaction to kick off Raw tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I told you earlier, like when we were kind of talking about this, I don't know how to feel about it. And I think that's the point.
Yeah, for sure.
But like it's so uncomfortable. Like it's just a very uncomfortable situation.
Well,
both parties are doing a great job at doing that as well. It makes me anticipate Rhea Ripley coming back even more.
I think a lot of things make us uncomfortable by this situation.
Yes.
I think number one, we got used to Rhea and Dom in a weird way.
Yeah.
So like Dom has so much heat.
Yeah.
And Rhea was becoming a babyface. But as much as we liked to boo Dominik,
yeah,
we wanted them together.
Yeah.
Because it brought out the weirdness and the best in both of them and the Judgment Day.
Exactly.
So now that Dom was with somebody else, I think that's part of the weird part. It's not Rhea.
And we never saw Rhea and Dom kiss though either.
That's very true.
So like that adds an even more element to it. I don't know, man. Like the whole interaction at the beginning of Raw tonight or last night, if you're watching this, was just my wife's. I think Denise Salcedo said it perfect on Twitter, and my wife backed it up because she watched it with me. It was so intense. I felt shy just watching it. That's
what Denise said. You needed to turn it off.
I was like, I feel like I should not be watching this interaction right now.
Yeah.
It was so awkward and so weird and in an entertaining way, I guess. So I don't know. I don't know where this story is going. I mean, I have an idea in my head, but it's going to be an uncomfortable ride getting to that point in some weeks, I feel like.
Well, lay it out. What do you think?
I mean, I think we kind of talked about it earlier. Like, I think we're heading to Money in the Bank. I don't know if Liv will defend at Clash at the Castle.
I don't think so. I wouldn't.
But I think Dom needs to be there. I mean, we could do it there. We could have Liv defend against somebody at Clash because Clash is where Dom turned on Edge and Ray.
It's very true.
So you could have Liv do something at Clash. That's where we get the firm alignment of Dom and Liv together, Rhea's music hits, and maybe she's not cleared, but she's close, and she can come out there and just all three of them together, and then we head into like Money in the Bank or SummerSlam with Rhea, Liv, with Dom on a pole, because yes, please put Dom on a pole or a Dom in a ladder match to call back Eddie and Ray, because that needs to happen at some point.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they play that out, because once we get Dom aligned with Liv, Rhea shouldn't want him back.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
It's just Rhea coming back for revenge, because now Liv
has done what she said.
Has done what she said. See, I think this thing needs to burn a little slower.
Yeah.
I don't think Clash is where it happens. I think Money in the Bank is where it happens, because, and Sam Roberts alluded to this on his emergency pod from last week, so I am stealing his idea. But I think when Liv said she's going to take everything from Rhea, I think she meant the Judgment Day too.
Yeah.
Like, so if we're seeing on Raw the interactions with Finn Balor and with JD McDonough.
Yep.
I don't know what Carlito's role in this is, but whatever. But if she somehow infiltrates Judgment Day and breaks them apart and manipulates Dom enough so that Dom is on her side at the same time, then she's totally won.
Yeah.
Because she's got the belt, she's got Dom, and she's killed the most dominant faction on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
All by herself.
Yeah.
So then when Rhea comes back, it's not just about Dom. It's not just about the belt. It's about
everything.
You literally took everything.
Yeah.
So that's why I think we need to let it last a little longer. But I'm with you. And I said it last week. The minute that Dom aligns himself with Liv,
Rhea's coming
Rhea's
back.
music has to hit right then, because it has to. The camera work and the production work would be so good, because if you see Liv and Dom kiss and the camera is right there, and then the music hits, and then Dom's eyes just get so wide and he just stops, bro. Like, I can imagine just incredible production work. And we talked about it earlier, man. The pop when Rhea comes back.
It's going to be massive.
It's going to be huge.
Yeah, it's going to be massive. When the two pops that I'm waiting for is Roman's pop when he comes back and Rhea's pop.
Yes.
And those are going to be massive, massive, massive pops when that happens. I think Roman's will be announced when he's returning.
Probably.
I think Rhea's going to be the shock. I think Roman needs to be. I think that's going to build to that anticipation, especially all the solo stuff that's going on. I think you have to announce when Roman's coming back.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I know. I
mean, it could happen this Friday. They're doing they're officially initiating Tonga Loa into the bloodline.
That's right.
So it could happen this Friday. I can't wait to see. The reaction I'm looking forward to the most is Paul Heyman's reaction when Roman's music hits. I think he might cry.
Okay, let's go down that rabbit hole for just a second. I know we're talking about Liv and Dom, but do we have to wait till Paul aligns himself with Solo, like fully embraces?
I don't think he ever fully embraces.
See, I don't think so either, but I just wonder, like, what is that flip of the switch moment where Roman comes back? You know?
Honestly, I think it's when Jacob Fatu shows up.
Okay.
Because the report right now is, the report that's been going on is the reason why they're holding off on Jacob is because they're afraid when he shows up. Because if you've never seen Jacob Fatu,
right,
the dude is charismatic and intense.
Right.
And everything, and I love Solo, but everything Solo wants to be, Jacob Fatu is.
Right.
So I think that's part of the reason why they're holding up. But as soon as he comes in, I think Roman's coming in. And I think we're off to the races with whatever story we're telling down the line at that point.
It'll be interesting to see when Roman comes back and how he comes back and all that kind of stuff. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Rhea. A lot of interesting stuff that's happening. But from Friday Night SmackDown as well, we get what we thought was an emotional ending to Friday Night SmackDown. We saw AJ Styles tease a career moment, a career. He never said he was retiring. He never said any of that. He just said he needs time to speak about his career. everything alluded to a retirement. AJ Styles even showed up in a suit. AJ Styles doesn't wear a suit. So he comes out, he gives his spiel, he asks Cody to come out. And then when he asked Cody to come out, bang. It was a swerve, bro. AJ Styles attacks Cody in arguably one of AJ's best promos that he's ever cut.
Yeah.
In WWE.
Yeah.
Setting up their rematch for Clash at the Castle. Listen, you can call AJ Styles a Mark Henry wannabe all you want. Fans can say they saw this coming from a mile away. Whatever. This was great.
I don't know.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. It was definitely, I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. It was definitely, I'm not going to say a ripoff, but it was definitely heavily inspired by the Mark Henry
Of course it
turn.
was.
I mean, down to the suit.
Of course it was.
Mark Henry came out in that salmon suit. AJ Styles comes out in the light blue suit. So
Yeah,
it was down to that. I don't know. I think I like where the direction was going.
Okay.
I like what they did. I like going after Cody. I like all of that was great. I just don't know where AJ goes after this.
Okay.
Because if you, let's look at the two events that are, I mean, they go hand in hand. Mark Henry, AJ Styles.
Yep.
Mark Henry didn't win the WWE Championship from John Cena.
Right.
But he went on that
House of Pain.
Hall of Pain tour, which was, I think, not even arguably, it was Mark Henry's best run in WWE.
And it ended in world title.
Right, and it ended in world title. AJ, I don't know where AJ goes from here. Like, he's not beating Cody.
Nope.
So where does he go from here?
It's a good question.
I mean, you could send him over to Raw and have AJ and Gunther, which I'm not against at all whenever, because
again, he doesn't win.
Right. So where does AJ go from here?
Yeah.
This all leads to just another AJ loss.
It does. I really don't have a solid answer for you.
Right. And that's my hesitation is behind all of this is such a big moment that it should end in AJ Styles winning the title. But are you really going to have him beat Cody after Cody literally just beat Roman 3 months ago?
So we had this match at Backlash.
Yeah.
And we had King and Queen of the Ring. Mm-hmm. And now we have Clash at the Castle. So a pay-per-view in between the two AJ Cody matches. Do you think this was a pivot and that something else was planned and they switched and kind of pulled this out? I know they kind of teased the AJ stuff last week.
Right.
And maybe even the week before. I really don't know for sure. But for sure last week. Or do you think, because he really wasn't, I don't know, I guess really wasn't on, after he did lose King of the Ring to Randy Orton. Mm-hmm. So I guess it kind of started there. I don't know. Do you think this could have been the original plan or was there something else?
Probably. The thing is, I don't know what you do. I mean, I think the obvious feud for Cody going into SummerSlam is Randy.
Yes.
So what do you do with Cody in the meantime? Logan Paul was the perfect choice for the Saudi show. What do you do with Cody in the meantime?
Right.
Put him in there with AJ.
Right.
Do that again. Probably run it back again at Money in the Bank, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know what you do at Money in the Bank.
I'll tell you what you could do with AJ. That would be really interesting. Have him win Money in the Bank.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
Like, I think AJ with the Money in the Bank, put the club back together. I don't know why we're trying to break up every faction and group in WWE right now.
Well, Anderson and Gallows were out there.
They were.
And they stayed out there the whole time.
Yeah.
And if you watch videos on social media,
they threw up the Too Sweet.
They did. So it seems like we could have some club interaction.
So you have him with Money in the Bank. You have Anderson and Gallows with them. And he could go after Cody at some point. Or he could go after whoever's World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I know AJ and Johnny Gargano had a one-off in Paris, or it wasn't Paris, but it was in France at a house show. Maybe it was Paris. At a house show right after Backlash. So that could be interesting if you're going to tell a Johnny Gargano singles story, depending on if there's tension with this DIY thing, whatever. I know they're wrapped up with the tag team champions, Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, whatever. But I really don't know. I don't know where you would go with AJ, because Sam Roberts alluded to, and I thought this would be interesting, is if you have the club together, you go after the bloodline. But again, that probably results in a club loss.
Right.
Because you're building up the bloodline.
Exactly.
I don't know, unless AJ gets the U.S. title from Logan Paul. That's the thing, is like, AJ's ceiling right now is a secondary title.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to win a world title.
Nope.
Probably for the rest of his career.
No.
If he's only got 2 years left.
I think you win the world title in 2 years. Maybe not the WWE title, but the world title.
Maybe. Depends on if you want to keep it on Gunther for 666 days. You know?
He's going to break Roman's record.
That's a good point. That's true. All right. We talked about AJ. We don't know where AJ is going to go.
No.
We have no clue, which is very frustrating.
It is.
Let's talk about Cody for a second. Lots of people have been down on this Cody Rhodes run so far.
Yeah.
He's defending against AJ.
And a great match.
Great match. Defending a great match against Logan Paul.
Yep.
Going to defend against AJ again.
And a great match.
And a great match. He's only wrestled once on TV.
And a great match.
Again, correct. But that was once.
Yep.
And that was 2 weeks after WrestleMania.
Yep.
And we are 2.5 months removed from WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
So he's wrestled 1, 2, 3 matches.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Excluding live events.
Right.
I wish he would wrestle more.
Yes.
On TV.
Yep.
But how do you assess his booking so far as champion?
I think it's fine. I think here's the thing. And this is the truth about everything that's ever happened in wrestling or will ever happen in wrestling. A majority of the fans, as soon as they get what they want, are going to be upset with what they got.
Absolutely.
So I don't take what most of them say, because when he walks out in front of a crowd, that's the reaction I look for.
Yep.
And when he walks out in front of the crowd, you know who gets the biggest pop every night on SmackDown? Cody Rhodes. You know who's probably going to get the second biggest pop at Clash of the Castle?
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes, behind Drew McIntyre, because, of course, Drew's going to get a huge pop. Piper may get the second because
That's true.
it's her home country.
That's true.
But
third. She'll be behind Cody.
Cody's going to get a massive pop.
Yeah.
What else are you going to do with Cody?
Yeah.
Like, his thing is storytelling and promos.
Yep.
And every time he goes out there and cuts a promo, it's a Cody Rhodes promo.
And let's be honest. I know people want to see him wrestle. I want to see him wrestle. You want to see him wrestle. He is the cash cow right now.
Yeah, you want to protect him.
You got to protect the guy.
Yeah.
Come on. And he's wrestling on live events.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. He's already wrestled more than Roman has in the last year that he was champion. So we're getting what we want.
Right.
But I don't want him. Let's look at the flip side, the other promotion completely.
Yep.
AEW.
Yep.
Swerve has wrestled like 3 or 4 television matches since he won the world title.
Mm-hmm.
The difference, though, is Swerve is still proving himself as champion, because that's the story they're kind of telling. He's also paying for the sins that he committed as a heel, all this other stuff.
Sure.
Cody has proven himself for the last 1.5 2 years who he is.
Yep.
And so he doesn't need to go out there and wrestle every week.
And not only that, but we mentioned live events.
Yeah.
He's wrestling on the live events. Yeah. And you read on social media about how he stays and greets every fan. Yep. He's there for over an hour at the end of live events. And what a lot of people don't realize, and a lot of keyboard warriors in the internet wrestling community don't realize this, is that the wrestling business was built on live events, not on television. Yeah. And it still works that way. I was listening to Busted Open this morning, and they were talking about the live event in White Plains. I think it was might have been on Sunday night. And Cody headlined. And Dave LaGreca was there. Mm-hmm. And now we know that he's a big Cody mark. So you have to take what he says with a grain of salt. But they had a caller that called in and verified everything that Dave said.
Yeah.
He said that pop was Hogan 84-esque.
Yeah. Yeah.
That he got.
Cody is the guy.
And so to say that, you listen to people talk about the way the wrestling business still works, you're still trying to win people over at the live events.
Yeah.
Because TV doesn't matter as much. You win the people over at the live events, and it's going to disseminate.
Well, going on. I mean, look, I am. If you ask me who the most overrated wrestler of all time is, my answer is going to be Hulk Hogan.
Of course.
But if you go back and look at all of his runs, 84, whatever the case is, the thing that he and Cody have a lot in common is Cody has this knack of being everything they wanted John Cena to be. Mm-hmm. Because they wanted Cena to be this big face. And I'm not saying Cena's not one of the biggest faces of all time, but you also got to realize Cena was hated by, I'm not even going to say half, I think he was hated by a majority of the WWE crowd for that 2010 through 20 whatever run.
Sure.
It was. Cody, though, he can make everybody believe everything he says.
Yes.
When the bell rings, he makes people believe by his matches.
Absolutely.
And that is very, very important in keeping people engaged and keeping the live crowd engaged. I think it's another reason why Sami Zayn is so good as Intercontinental Champion is Sami Zayn is not a lot smaller than Chad Gable. Like, they're the same size, whatever. You go into that match at Clash, Sami's going to feel like one of the biggest underdogs of all time.
Sure.
Because that's what he's good at. And that's what makes people believe in him. Yep. Cody's kind of the same way, and it works to perfection for him right now.
One of the things I said on Busted Open this morning, and again, for those of you, if you're listening for the first time, I don't get all my content from somewhere else. I do have these thoughts.
Some original thoughts.
I do have original thoughts. But I bring this point up because it was such an interesting discussion this morning, because it's what a lot of people online are talking about is down on Cody's run, and that's just simply not true. But one of the things, you brought up Cena. One of the things they said on Busted Open this morning was the difference between Cody and Cena. You just laid out in ring. Well, let's talk about out of the ring. When you look at fans outside of the ring, the people wearing John Cena shirts were mainly women and children.
Yep.
Now, Cody Rhodes, everybody's wearing a shirt.
Yeah.
Men, women, children, the whole
ages.
9 yards.
Yeah.
Pets, whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
They're all wearing Cody shirts.
Yeah.
And the caller that called in, he was like, look, I have a 4-year-old. And it was the kid, if you go back and look on social media, it was the kid that Cody pulled out of the crowd to do the whoa with him.
Yeah.
That was this guy's kid.
Okay.
From the White Plains show. And he said that because his kid is such a Cody fan, it makes him more of a Cody fan.
Yeah.
Because he sees the impact that Cody has on his kid.
Yep.
I don't know why Cena didn't resonate that way, but Cody certainly is.
Well, here's the thing. I think the biggest thing is we don't have Super Cody.
Yet.
Well, I think we'll get to that point.
We're getting there.
But I think we're going to get to that point for a reason.
Yes.
Because when Cody turns heel, oh, buddy, it's going to be beautiful.
Can't wait.
Because you think babyface Cody is fun. Some of the stuff heel Cody did in Ring of Honor and TNA and New Japan is wild. I can't wait for that. But Super Cena is what killed a lot of his run.
Yep.
I mean, some of the biggest mistakes in WWE history were Cena wins. Right at the top is, SummerSlam 2010 with Nexus. Mm-hmm. There's no reason why Team Cena should have won that match. Right. Nexus should have won that match. WrestleMania 30 against Bray. Bray should have won that match. 31 against Rusev. Rusev should have won that match. So like the list kind of goes on and on and on of people that Cena should have put over, and for one reason or another, not saying it's even Cena's fault, except the 2010 one was Cena's fault, but that's a different thing. But like I just think Cody is being protected in the right way right now.
Yes.
Against guys like AJ Styles, who we talked about. I hated that he's losing so much, but it's helping Cody out a lot.
Yep.
Logan Paul. Nobody wants to see Logan Paul as WWE champion. You put him in there with Cody Rhodes, it's going to build to that. Mm-hmm. Randy Orton and Cody are going to tell a great story, especially when Randy turns heel on him at some point. So like you're starting to tell these stories slowly. Whenever we get to Rock Cody again, it's going to be
Cody
perfect.
Kevin Owens.
Cody KO. Cody Seth at some point probably again. Cody Punk at some point probably. So like the story kind of goes on. Yeah. So Cody Gunther. The story kind of goes on and on. That's the one I'm the most worried about is Cody Gunther whenever that happens. I think if it's like 3 or 4 years from now, it's fine. I'm glad they didn't do it right after the Rumble last year.
Oh, me too.
Because I think that would have hurt Cody's momentum a lot if he had just straight up beat Gunther. But I think if Gunther had beat Cody, it'd have been fine, but that's whatever. But I think we are protecting Cody in the right way without harming everyone else. That match with Carmelo Hayes, Cody won. Carmelo Hayes, though, looked like $1 million after
Sure.
the match. And that is very, very important.
It really is. Only time will tell how this Cody run ends up. A lot of big possibilities.
Yep.
They're doing things right now. A lot of people don't.
A lot slower than what people want, but you got to slow build to like the Rock stuff.
But we're in that era.
Yeah.
People just have to realize we're in that era of storytelling. No matter how long this Liv Dom thing goes on, AJ Cody, Bloodline, Chad Gable. I mean, the list just goes on and on of all of the long-term storytelling with all of these things. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, we appreciate it. Like I said just a few minutes ago, thank you so much. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us on podcast, we are available wherever you find your podcast. Make sure you're following the show. Make sure you're subscribed to the show, all of those kinds of things. And if you're listening to us on Sports Wire Radio, our exclusive partner, thank you so much for doing that. If you're interested in Sports Wire Radio and you're not, you haven't checked them out yet, sportswireradio.org. That's sports with a Z. That's where you can listen live. Tom and the crew have you covered 24/7 with fantastic sports coverage. We're in a group chat with them, and they're talking all about the hockey right now and all the things. So they got you covered with great stuff. Even if you get your wrestling fix from us and you want to hear some other stuff from them, boom, they got you. So go check them out, sportswireradio.org. Don't forget to follow us on social media at SQCircle_radio. That is on your screen if you're watching on the YouTube channel. Our individual handles are on there as well. Man, I can't. It's been a long night. All right. Next week, this Thursday, MCWF pay-per-view number 4. We actually just finished recording that.
We did.
Not too long ago. It's going to be a fun show. The Lethal Lottery, drops and pickups, all the things. Some good stuff, man. Yeah,
it's a wild episode, and buckle in. It's a little longer episode, but it's worth the listen and the wait. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
And then next week on our regular show, we're going to preview Clash at the Castle. It is coming up next weekend, man. So we're going to preview that show, and we'll keep you up to date. Again, that's the furthest that we're going to plan, Andy, because
who knows what could happen.
As I said last week, who the heck knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I don't know who might show up next week. Next weekend is also, this weekend is Battleground. NXT Battleground.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll have something to say about that next week and all that kind of stuff. All right, man. That's going to do it. This is a fun show.
It was a fun show.
A lot of good, interesting discussions.
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff.
Yep.
Man, the WWE world turning itself upside down.
It is.
Some good stuff.
Also want to send a shout out and get better soon to Adam Copeland after that nasty bump off the top of the cage.
Yes, broken tibia, 4 to 6 weeks-ish. Probably a little more because he's a little older. But
couple months.
No, not 4 to 6 weeks. 4 to 6 months.
I was about to say 4 to 6 weeks is a wild. He's Super Cena.
That's what I meant. Well, yeah, I guess so. Anyway, all right. Best wishes to Adam Copeland for that nasty fall. For Mr. Andy York, my name is Chris Belcher. This has been another edition of Squared Circle Radio. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will catch you down the road.